North Carolina dominated Syracuse earlier on Saturday from the tip. The train is rolling. The Tar Heels are 5-0 in ACC play. Let's eat some biscuits.
You are Locked On Tar Heels, your daily podcast on the UNC Tar Heels. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, what's up? Welcome into this live reaction show to North Carolina's 103-67 victory over Syracuse. I'm your host, Isaac Shade, and I want to welcome you in to this episode of Locked On Tar Heels. If you are not part of our Discord family already, come join us in there. It is a great place to be. We would love to have you. What we're going to do is talk through several things from this game. Our last couple live reactions, I've looked at big picture kind of overview stuff and then game specific. But what we're going to do today is approach it a little bit differently, because there have been four very specific things that Carolina has been doing that I want to talk about in our opening section. And then we'll go into some other kind of random things. And then obviously there are some other things that we will save for Monday's show as well. Carolina, look, 103-67, 36-point win over Syracuse in a game that wasn't even really that close. As I said, the Tar Heels are now 5-0 in ACC play. They maintain that lead. Obviously, no one's going to catch them unless they lose. The Tar Heels have won 6 straight. We wait to see where Carolina will be ranked when the new AP poll comes out on Monday, with a couple teams dropping this week. Tennessee needed a miracle comeback to win at Georgia today. I wouldn't be surprised if Carolina jumps past them. Kentucky's in the midst of a fight at Texas A&M right now, so we'll see what happens there to see if Carolina would move ahead of them. But KenPom updates almost automatically after games. Carolina moves up right now to 5th at KenPom. That's from 10th to 5th. That's a massive jump. 14th in offensive efficiency and 7th in defensive efficiency. And that is phenomenal. All right, here's where we're going to take this. These 4 things that I mentioned I want to look at first, that I've started to look at game in and game out, are energy, bench, defense, and rebounding, because these are 4 keys that I think are really going to help Carolina long-term. So we'll go through those, take a quick little break, and then we'll move into game-specific things. So energy. I'm always curious to see, it's a noon Saturday start. That's weird. It's tough. It messes with your rhythm. You're out of your routine. It could be a little sleepy start. And then also for Carolina, you think about, hey, look, we're coming off of this tough 3-game road stretch where we exerted a lot of energy. And now you come home, you get Syracuse, and there's a possibility to take your foot off the gas a little bit. None of that happened. None of that was the case. Carolina was ready to go from the tip. There was no sign of like, oh, we survived that road gauntlet and now we can let up. No. From the very tip, Elliot Cadeau, first possession of the game, easy path to the hoop. I think then Syracuse got a 3, but after that, Carolina went on a 7-0 run to get a 9-3 lead. And what I loved about this energy right out of the gate, Carolina was running with purpose and intention. They looked great. They were sharp. They were crisp. They were doing the things they needed to do. They were sharing the ball. They were attacking the rim. They were getting easy looks. That's what you want to do. And how different is that than against what you're used to from Syracuse in the Jim Boeheim era? And what that accomplished, Carolina doing this in our first thing we're looking at, the energy, is that Syracuse pretty quickly looked disinterested. They looked unengaged. They looked defeated. We had talked about that a couple times this week, is you want to do things to teams that just take them out of the game as soon as you possibly can. And that happened to Syracuse pretty quickly. And how nice was that for Carolina after those 3 road games in which, they had really kind of had to grind it out. Now they had some streaks down the close of those games that allowed them to push out to double-digit wins. But goodness gracious, no, not so today. Carolina just blitzed it from the start. And so the energy was there. And what did that start mean? Well, it leads us to the second thing I was watching for. Energy, bench. Oh, man. when Carolina starts the way they did, like I typed early on in the game in my notes, this is going to be great because Carolina is going to be able to get lots of minutes for the bench players and get the starters out of the game, get some rest. And that anytime you can do that is great. So what did it all amount to? No one played more than 27 minutes. That was RJ Davis. You love that. You got all 14 players on the roster into the game. All of them got at least 2 minutes. Overall, Carolina led the bench scoring 39-19. That's insane. There was a 42.7% bench usage rate from Coach Davis in this game, second highest of the season behind only Charleston Southern. So you're telling me that you're now a quarter of the way through ACC play and you just used your bench for the second most you had in a game all season. That's what that start enabled Coach Davis to be able to do. In all, 10 players played in the first half. As I said, 14 played in total. 3 bench players had at least 9 points. That was Seth Trimble with 9, and then both Jalen Withers had 10. We're going to talk about him more on Monday's show, by the way. And then Jalen Washington had 11. You'll take that. In total, we've been talking a little bit about scoring balance and how good a job Carolina's been doing with that. Those 3 road games, no one had gotten to 20 points or more. That streak was broken today. But what I love about it is it wasn't at the expense of offensive balance. 7 players had 9 or more points in this game. And if you're an opposing coach, good luck to you. You look at Carolina spreading this out and you're like, who do I defend? I'm going to try my best to stop RJ Davis. Cool. Then Armando Bacot's going to go off and Harrison Ingram's going to do work and Cormac Ryan's going to be tough and gritty. And here comes Seth Trimble. Like you just can't. And so when you have 9 players with 7 or more points, that is phenomenal. So energy, bench, defense. Here's where I'm at with the defense. And I've been all in on this for a couple weeks now. North Carolina's championship aspirations, and I mean that in terms of ACC championship, regular season and conference tournament, and any NCAA tournament championship aspirations rely on their defense. The offense is going to be there. It's been at 1 point per possession in every game except the NC State game on Wednesday. That's a baseline. But Carolina's defense and what they've risen to, it's unreal. And that will be the thing that defines whether Carolina is championship level or not. This was the 6th straight game that the Tar Heels have held their opponent under 70 points. By the way, that just so happens to coincide with the 6-game winning streak that they're on. No, it doesn't just happen. That is very intentionally a big part of why Carolina has been able to go on this run. Now, the 3-game streak of holding the opponent under 60 is unfortunately over, but still, holding your opponents under 70 in 6 straight games when 4 of those in a row have been ACC games, come on. Syracuse shot 36.5% from the field, 21.1% from 3. That is the 5th straight opponent who Carolina has held under 40% from the field, and the 5th straight opponent Carolina has held under 25% from 3. That's crazy. I might actually have that one wrong. That's 4. I'm sorry. 4 straight under 25% from 3. The last 4 opponents, Pittsburgh, 5 of 29 from 3. Clemson, 1 of 18 from 3. NC State, 2 of 21 from 3. And today, Syracuse, 4 of 19 from 3. All told, these 4 straight ACC games, Carolina has held their opponent to 12 of 87 from 3. That's a combined 13.8% in these 4 ACC games. But you know what, Kevin Keatts, head coach of NC State, you go ahead and keep saying that your team's performance from 3 on Wednesday night had nothing to do with the Tar Heels. No, that's great. That's nothing to do with Carolina, clearly. Come on, man. All right, let's keep talking defense. Carolina had a season high 13 steals. The previous high was 10 against Oklahoma. The Tar Heels held Syracuse to a point per possession of 0.848. For those who are wondering, kind of the benchmark is 1.0 that you're looking for. This is the 6th straight game Carolina has held their opponent under 1.0. And of those 6 games, 4 of them have been under 0.9. So I'm telling you all, this defense is doing it. And by the way, I don't see Leaky Black out there. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is a team all-in defensive effort. That is what it takes, and that's what the Tar Heels are doing. Are they going to be able to give that defensive energy game in and game out? It seems like they can. They've been showing it, and we just got to continue to wait and see if they can. All right, and then the fourth thing, energy, bench, defense, and rebounding. And at this point, I'm going to go ahead and turn on the box score so you can see that. Put myself down in the side there. Look at the box score if you want to be able to see that as we talk. I'll keep it on for the rest of our conversation so you can see that if you haven't already looked at it. Rebounding. Carolina just out-rebounded Syracuse 53-30. Are you kidding me with that right now? At halftime, it was, I believe, 24-17. Carolina was up +7, and then they stretch it out to this. So let's backtrack and talk about why this rebounding is so important and why I'm looking always now at energy, bench, defense, and rebounding. In the games, UConn, Kentucky, and Oklahoma, Carolina was -10, -10, -7 on the glass. Since then, starting with Charleston Southern, +21, at Pitt, +10, at Clemson, +11. Those two teams were number 1 and 2 in the ACC in rebounding margin at the time. At NC State on Wednesday, +7. And then today, Syracuse, +23. The rebounding that this team is doing is ridiculous, and you love to see it. Syracuse, they're rebounding today, 7 offensive rebounds, 23 defensive rebounds. Meanwhile, Carolina had 19 offensive rebounds and 34 defensive rebounds. Carolina almost had more offensive rebounds than Syracuse had defensive rebounds. And we talked about the offensive balance of so many people scoring and doing stuff. How about this? 14 Tar Heels played. Any guesses how many of them grabbed a rebound? All 14 of them. I am not exaggerating. I'm not joking. You can look at it on the box score right now with me. Look at that. Every one of them had at least one rebound. I mean, come on. What more can you ask from a balance standpoint? And then obviously that was led, the rebounding effort, by Armando Bacot and Harrison Ingram. All right, so that's that kind of big picture stuff that I am now going to be looking at all season long. If you want to join me in that can be kind of markers of if Carolina is leaning into their identity. I'm really looking at that as identity. Carolina has energy. They're getting consistent production off the bench, and I'm laughing because, hello, we have not had that in years 1 and 2 of Hubert Davis, but boy, is it alive and well now, and I love it. And then defense and rebounding. These are going to be the calling cards, and we will keep watching it. All right. Now I want to get into 4 game-specific things that I thought were really, really interesting here. And then after that, by the way, the chat is alive and going well. If you want to drop in questions, I'll take a couple after we go through these 4 game-specific things. So I'm going to be scrolling through those here in just a minute. And so go ahead and drop in those questions. All right, 4 game-specific things. It's been a couple games since we've talked about him, so let's talk about him right now. RJ Davis. He is your ACC Player of the Year. If he's not, it's because something happens down the stretch, or it's just he's going to keep doing this. I know after that nice streak of 20 point scoring games in a row, he had gone only 15, 14, and 16 in the 3 road games Carolina just got off of, but now gets back to 22 points. That is the 10th time this season that RJ has done that. No, by the way, it's the 16th game. So really, really good stuff from RJ, but it wasn't just his scoring in this one. But his shooting was incredible. 7 of 12 from the field, 4 of 6 from 3, 4 of 4 from the free throw line, but also 2 rebounds, 2 assists, and 5 steals. He is contributing all over the floor. And how important is that? And by the way, let's remember, I just said he did that in only 27 minutes. That is insane. So RJ now from 3 this season is up over 40%, 41% exactly from 3 on the season. That is easily his best season as a Tar Heel. And with going 4-4 from the free throw line, RJ this season is up to 95.4% from the free throw line, making 62 of his 65 free throws. What? Are you kidding me? Come on, man. That's incredible. All right. Number 2 in our game-specific look. How about some double-doubles all around in this game? Both Armando Bacot and Harrison Ingram logging double-doubles. Let me give you the stats, and we'll talk about it a little bit. Armando, 16 points, 11 boards, 4 of which were offensive, 1 assist, 1 block, 1 steal. And we talked about RJ doing it in so few minutes. For Armando, he only played 16 and a half minutes, and he's still got it. Can you imagine if he had put, like, you double that, and it's pretty typical for him, 32 minutes. If he had gotten 32 minutes in this game, there's no telling what those numbers could have been. So yes, like that's basically a point a minute, right? 16 points, 16 minutes. Come on. Harrison Ingram, same kind of thing. Harrison's minutes today, 24 minutes. So he played quite a few more, but still 11 points, 10 boards, 3 assists, just 1 turnover, and 2 steals. These guys, let's talk about them each individually. What Harrison Ingram continues to bring to this team, a lot of it does show up. What's interesting about that is he shows up in the box score in a lot of really, really important ways. But what he brings that even doesn't in his hustle, in his like, oh man, I just missed a runaway dunk. All right, cool. Let's laugh about it, right? Like that just helps bring a team together when you can laugh at yourself like that. And so, man, Harrison Ingram, I said it the other day, like, I wonder if he's this year's Brady Manick. And there are some ways in which he is. And then I can't remember who it was, forgive me, came back and said, yeah, it's almost like a combination of Brady Manick and like what a Leaky Black brings in all these intangibles. And I like that kind of amalgamation of those two guys. Armando Bacot, I just said it, had all that in just those 16 and a half minutes. He picked up this early foul, but then immediately had this stretch where he got to block on one end, an offensive rebound and putback on the other, a rebound on the other end, and then got great position for receiving a post-entry pass over the top. I forget who threw it, but it was great. Got an easy layup out of that, and then had this like full court pass assist later in the game. I mean, just Armando is dialed in. I know he didn't have a double-double in his last game, the game at NC State. Some of that was all that foul trouble in the first half with that just egregious flagrant that got called on him. But he does have double-doubles in 4 of Carolina's 5 ACC games. All right, game-specific point number 3 was the zone. How about this? I said it on yesterday's preview show with Coach Rob. We don't expect Syracuse to play zone. They're not playing as much zone. They might get a couple possessions of it, but it's just going to be a new defense in the non-Jim Boeheim era as we get to see Syracuse under Red Autry. And yet, it was funny because Syracuse ended up going to a zone because Carolina was just running all over the place, and Syracuse had nothing they could do to stop it. So what did Syracuse do? They went zone a couple possessions late in the first half. They had some, I think it was just one of those like, hey, let's sprinkle it in and see if it'll do something. Here's the thing. It did. Syracuse went on a 9-0 run. They got it up to 30 points at halftime. I think without that, Carolina probably does hold them under 60. But still, it was only 30 points at halftime. They even went on a 4-0 run to start the second half, you caught. And I was like, okay, I think they got the lead down to maybe 15, which is silly to be like, oh man, only a 15-point lead. Are we concerned? No, I wasn't concerned. But the zone, what it did was it changed up kind of the pace of the game for a while. I thought, personally, I'm curious if you did too, Carolina started to look a little bit lazy at moments there, or not. I say lazy. Let me rephrase that. They looked a little content and complacent, like, we'll just pass around the perimeter, see if we can get a shot. Instead of the way you attack a zone, which is getting someone, getting to the high post with a lot of intentionality, and then having somebody run the baseline for drop-offs and passes and things like that. Carolina wasn't really either interested in or hadn't diagnosed it well enough to start doing those things in the first half or the very beginning of the second half. But then Syracuse stuck with it, and Carolina, it was like a light bulb came on, and all of a sudden, they're doing everything you need to against the zone. Precision passes to the high post, switching in and out between the 4 and 5, getting to the post, to that high post, and the other big running the baseline. Carolina's ball movement got quick, intentional, precise, as it was early in the game. And whether it was dumping off to the baseline runner, getting it to the corners or the wing, penetration, whatever it was, Carolina finally diagnosed that thing, and it was great. And that is yet, you know, we've talked multiple times about Carolina finding all these ways to win, gritting it out, whatever it is, being forced to have to diagnose this zone that they probably weren't, you know, they weren't as prepared for as you would normally be if you're playing Syracuse, because you don't expect it. Again, Syracuse has not been going to zone to this level that they did today. And so yet another data point that has impressed me in big, big ways about this team. So the fourth point in the game specific things to talk about is how about all the runs that Carolina went on in this game? The Tar Heels, you might not have caught this, had 6 runs of 7-0 or better. Only one kill shot run. Evan Miyakawa runs a great college basketball statistics site, and he calls it a kill shot anytime you go on a run of 10-0 or more. Carolina's had a bunch of those this season. They have, I like to use the phrase spurtability is a word I coined, I don't know, several years ago, and just looking at a Carolina team that did that well. That's what we saw in this game. Carolina went on 6 runs of a 7-0 run or better. They went on that 7-0 run I talked about earlier to go up 9-3, an 8-0 run to go up 19-7, a 9-0 run to go up 45-18. So those were all first half. And then in the second half, they had that 10-0 run that got it up to 64-39. What was crazy about that?
Something went wrong. Please try again.
Siri's talking to me. Siri, I don't know what you're saying. Carolina went, this was right after Syracuse had a little bit of a run to start the second half. Carolina goes on this blitz. The first 8 points of that 10-0 run took 55 seconds. I mean, that is phenomenal and exactly what you need. But then they had 2 other runs throughout the second half, another 7-0 run to get it to 77-43, and then a 7-0 run to end the game with the walk-ons in. Come on, man, including James Okonkwo's free throws that got us all biscuits. Or as, who asked this? Yeah, Sam Hickman, I'll put this up on screen, said, these live reactions are fantastic. Also, since Okonkwo is British, do we get crumpets instead of biscuits? Sam Hickman, you win everything forever. That's the best thing I've seen in a minute. That's great. Okay, but very seriously, these runs that Carolina is able to go on, because you think about the defense we talked about and how good it is, and then you add in this capability on top of all that, good luck stopping North Carolina. Okay, I want to get into taking just a couple questions here before we hop off. There's a couple things we didn't talk about that I want to mention that I'm going to discuss in more depth on Monday's show. I want to talk more about no drop-off after the road trip. I want to talk about points in the paint and how Carolina dominated that. Free throws, Jae'lyn Withers settling into his role finally, and what I thought was the play of the game. And sorry, my camera is saying it's turned off, and I'm not sure why that's happening. I apologize. And we're getting right back into it. This is live coming at you, folks. This is what happens sometimes. There we go. We're right back. Sorry about that, everybody. Okay, let's get some questions, and we will get to it. Michael Shadron asks, Isaac, when is the last time we started 5-0 in ACC play? I tell you what, Michael, I don't have that in front of me right now, but I will tweet it out right after we hop off the live chat, and I'll mention it on Monday's show for sure. Somebody in the chat might already have it as we go through, and we'll look at that. Just looking for some more questions as we go through here. Emily Von Pocky, what's up, Emily? Great to see you. Says, is this the first time that Coach Davis has ever used everyone on the roster in a game? I don't believe it is, just in these blowouts where you're either blowing out winning or blowing out losing. But Emily, same thing as Michael's question. I'll look back on that and we'll get to it. We're just looking through the questions here for anything. Oh, let's go big picture. Sam Hickman, who just asked that question a little bit ago, and he says this. Isaac, I'm going to ask it. I am not afraid. Here it goes. Can this team win a national championship? You know, Sam, let me just say it clearly. Yes, they can. And it's for two reasons. Number one, it's because of this team. It's because of the complementary nature of this team. And by that, I mean shooters and rebounders and playmakers, unselfish teammates, seasoned experience, talent experience that could be NBA level, right? Like you need that. All of those kind of factors go into that. So from that standpoint, this is a national championship caliber team. The other side of it is as you look at the rest of the national landscape, any team is capable of being beaten. Now, that doesn't mean they will, but Purdue has now lost twice. Arizona has lost. You look at these other top teams in the nation, it's like anyone is capable of being knocked off. There are some great, like Purdue, to me, has the best resume in America, despite those two road losses. They just do. But North Carolina is very capable. Here's another thing. One of my favorite stats to try, I'm a stats nerd. No national championship team in the 64 team bracket era has won a national championship shooting under 33% from three. North Carolina passes that threshold, that metric. Another thing is you got to be able to win 6 games in a row. Carolina has now done that as of today. So, that's the thing. I mean, all of those kind of factors are into it. So, Sam, I would say, yes. Are they going to? I don't know. But can they? Yes. And that's all you can ask for in a one-off tournament environment. And everything they're doing right now is putting them in position to have the type of seed that you need to go get a national championship. Right now, this is resume they have. Carolina is a 2 seed by what I look at, the projections of it, and by most bracketologists. There is the potential that they could climb into a 1 seed if they keep doing what they're doing. They could drop back a little bit, but I just don't see this right now unless something changes dramatically. This team will not drop out of a top 4 seed. Though I don't see Carolina going undefeated the rest of the way. They could. Heck, why not? But Carolina is in as good a position as you can hope to be. All right, let's see. Let me take one, maybe 2 more questions as we go through it. Oh, Ted Aldridge says Clark Kellogg coined that term a long time ago. Shade, you talking about spurtability? Maybe I stole it from him and I didn't even realize. It's one of those where it's like I thought I coined that years ago, but I probably heard it and it was in the back of my head. I apologize for. Oh, let's get this one. We're going to take this question and I'll find one more. All right. Nate Henderson says, would Elliott taking another step forward or Cormac getting out of his shooting slump be more beneficial to us right now? And Nate, I'm interpreting that to mean which of those two things would be more important. I'm assuming that's how you're asking that. To me, the more important of those two is Elliott taking another step forward, because Carolina is doing this obviously despite Cormac kind of being in a shooting slump. What did he shoot today? I haven't even looked at his stat line yet. Cormac Ryan, 2 of 5 from the field, 0 of 3 from 3. And so, yeah, I mean, that means his 3-point percentage is going to be back under 30%. But the thing is that there's so many other dynamic high-level shooters around this team that Carolina is able to have the spacing they need, that it'll be okay, even if he doesn't. Carolina as a team today, I know it wasn't a tremendous 3-point shooting day. What did they finish? 7 of 26. That's 26.9%. That ain't going to do it. But that's in a game where you win by the way Carolina did. But the reason I answer Elliott is because March is all about having elite level guard play. Other positions clearly and obviously matter, but these are the players that elevate the teams that win. You think about some of Carolina's best teams. It's because guards take over at just the right moments. Now, what's nice for Carolina is they've got a guy already in RJ Davis that has all of that experience that you need and can run the show whenever needed. you've got a guy in Seth Trimble who has taken leaps above where he was last year. I mean, it is insane what he's doing. His production is showing from that, and his minutes are showing from that. Let's see what Seth's line was today. 21 minutes, 3 of 8 from the field, 1 of 2 from 3, 2 of 3 from the free throw line. Ooh, no assists, 3 turnovers from Seth. Didn't realize that today, but also had a steal and a block. But with Elliott, everything he can add, whether it's more passing, whether it's more points, more attacking, right? Like we've seen him attacking the rim, I feel like, more lately. Elliott today, 3 assists, 2 turnovers. So decent there. You know, you always want to see that. He's coming off a game which he had 6 assists and 2 turnovers. So Nate, that is easily my answer to this one. Elliott continuing to take steps forward. I'm really curious to see what kind of mid-season freshman slump he goes through, if at all, or if he's just kind of on a slow upward trajectory because of everything he has around him in those other guards and a Marcus Page on the bench and a shooter like Hubert Davis on the side. All right, let's see if there's maybe one more question we can grab, and then we'll get out of here for today so we can go enjoy our set. I don't see any others in here. If I missed it, I apologize for that. Nate, great question. Thank you so much for that. Again, as always, it's so great to get to tune in. Thank you all for being here. Again, we'll be back on Monday with a full show. Got lots more to unpack from this game. A great Saturday of basketball. Can't wait to enjoy all that. If you're not part of our Discord, please come hop in. If you need the link to that, I just literally tweeted it out yesterday because we crossed over 7,000 YouTube subscribers. Thank you, all of you. You are phenomenal and incredible. All right, folks, it's always a great day to be a Tar Heel. I can't wait to talk with you on Monday. I hope you have a great weekend. Stay warm. It's so cold out there in the world. All right, enjoy your Saturday and Sunday. Until Monday, peace.